Take a look at this one. It's going to be Reason Gaming starting on that CT side. Prophecy winning the knife run, actually opting to start on T.
Teammates time, but they still haven't spotted out the bomb. Slap does a little bit of damage before he sneaks off.
He does indeed. So, 1 minute 5 on the clock right now. Prophecy, a man disadvantage for them. Karma playing out finding 2 frags himself. Now it's down to Kale. Can he equalize the numbers?
Oh, Kale takes the fight through. So he's trying to get the entries. Actually, they do. Kolar and Kale come up huge as they pop the heads of Mace and Hoodlum. They've now got complete control of the site.
No kit for the retake as well. They need a fast frag kit. Kale will dispatch of Cray. Turn this into a 1 versus 3. And there we go. Pistol round 1 for Prophecy. And now he has to aid his teammate here.
We like utility raining through the skies. Karma needs to go in at the right time, trying to play around. It will peek out, but unfortunately his head gets knocked straight off. Slapped. Absolutely working his way through. 4 versus 3 now. Hits onto Mace and Hoodlum, so the CTs can play for retake if they want to. Bomb still towards Playground though, so they still have a minute left on the clock to try and find another entry and turn this into a 4 versus 2. Right now though, Reason Gaming, they need the next kill to go in their favor. Otherwise that could be all she wrote. It's going to be Kale once again towards Monster. Mace here, close as well. But I think he's actually peeking out. He's waiting for someone to just push into his crosshair and trying to find an easy frag. 40 seconds left on the clock right now. Look how far back Cinder is. He has no information towards mid. This is where a fake could be so easily thrown. Instead though, the CTs are going to take a risk towards B. It's looking like they played this one smart. 30 seconds left, and here comes the execute the smokes. Push coming through. Mace trying to ward them off. Will actually get the opening frags. He's able to take down Kale. Things get a little bit awkward now. Hoodlum trying to play around the pole, but it's not meant to be.
Especially after how good of a half Prophecy had. Anyway, it's going to be the 3 players from that CT side. Actually make it 4 now as Slap joins the ranks. 4 players towards toilets. Mace here gets all the information he needs. Gets a nice dink up as well as Archers jump around.
Does give their location away. The flashbang comes over. They peek at the right time. They play it smart as they peek together. Karma trying to ward them off. We'll find a couple of frags. He just down with the AK. Karma ripping his way through everyone.
TTD fits, but Cinder might be able to catch him off guard.
It's true. Slap has the round in his hand and he gets into the backline. Actually does find the head of Mace. This is really going to throw a spanner into the works. Cinder, it is all on the correct timing here. Playing out for audios. The audio cues even, trying to listen out for this one. But look at this in the backline as well. Slap is able to walk straight up behind Karma. He wasn't aware that somehow he could get on towards the B bomb site. Walks up behind Forest, finds the kill. Cinder does trade back though. Headshot comes out.
So the first game of week 4 was Reason Gaming versus Prophecy. Reason not having the best results so far. Definitely were aiming to pick up some results going into this one, but it did not happen for them. Prophecy coming out the 2-0 victory with a first 16-13 victory on Overpass and then a 16-7 victory on Mirage. Definitely a good win for Prophecy off the back of the defeat that they had to EnVyUs last week, which was a really rough result for them, including losing 16-0 on their second map last week. So overall, Reason, bear in mind they are still without Thomas. Maze still filling in for them, so it's definitely, I mean, he's proven himself to be a decent player. Maze, you have to give him credit for that. It's a difficult situation for him to come into this sort of scenario, but the firepower that Thomas does bring is definitely a miss. So going into next week for them with Thomas back for week 5, it will be big. As you can tell from the KDs displayed on the screen, Kolar and Kale coming up trumps for the Prophecy lineup. On the Reason side, it's fairly split. Cray coming up with the +4 and Karma coming out with the +3 as well, but it's a rough result for Reason. Hopefully they can save face with the future weeks coming in and hopefully contribute to the overall point system, because bear in mind the way the Elite Series works is that the overall league tables will be based upon how each team performs across each different game. There are 3 games: Rocket League, Street Fighter and CSGO, so it all does depend on how each team performs per game as opposed to just each specific table for each specific game. But yeah, going into it for next week, great result for Prophecy overall. Reason definitely needs to start picking some results up from this point onwards.
So it's Endpoint XL, the second of the day here for the Gfinity Elite Series.
Split 2-2 to either side until maybe they get a better picture of what's coming their way. But thus far, I do see Boaster still trying to maybe throw a bit of a curveball here. He could play late through underpass, maybe try and clear it out or catch anyone trying to rotate on the back. They still have time left, but just not much to make the hit with. He's going to try and sell this. He might have to follow up with it, and he is. You can see him trying to sell this as best he can. Please, guys, believe I'm here. But what is that smoke, Boaster? Surely not going to work. No, Charlie with an off angle there. Delivers on the first. Second's going to follow. Pickles is locking it down. Monster's his. And we know who's the monster at the end of that tunnel, Alex.
We need to make a montage of Pickles just killing people from barrels. He has not been forced to move.
Time that can be bought here is just huge. They're holding each other's pushes. The only avenue that Jesp has is maybe to work through Ruins, but with that molly now put to play, he knows that his time is running out. He might as well just back away. He's going to try and keep Jacob to the side, but still, what are you going to do now? You're just going to run in on this one. He does have a kit. He's going to try and smoke it out maybe and go for a full defuse. I don't know if this is going to work. No, he's going to try and make it costly, and he will do. But there is no time on the board. It's another for XL. What are you looking for here?
I just really would love to see the power of the economy displayed here. Look at Excel though, they're going for fast info down Banana, he knows what's coming. Windansky's been tasked with holding them, slowing them down, but it's not going to happen. He could not stem the bleed instead. Endpoint have been given the site for free. Now they're retaking before the bomb even goes down, and Imi's just laughing at.
The second game of the Elite Series was indeed XL versus Team Endpoint. Going into this one, like especially Endpoint, they're off the back of a 2-0 victory. XL was struggling overall, not managing to really pick up as many results as they would have liked. So it was going to be a tough one going into this. I think a draw was near enough ending up a reasonably fair result. Even before the game even started, I think it was a kind of potentially expected to be a 1-0 just because of XL have had a lot of close results in the previous matches, but just not managed to kind of clutch them out. Overall, so first map, it did go to Team Endpoint with a 16-14 win on Overpass. Second map ended up with a 16-9 victory for XL to make it 1-1 overall for the best of 2 series. Overall, I mean, quite a bit surprising in certain aspects, especially if you're looking at the KDs. Windansky coming up trumps for the XL lineup with the plus 11 KD. As always, KD isn't everything, just going over certain stats. But it's not the usual ones that you'd expect, just because of Connor especially would be the one that you'd kind of put up there as the general person for that sort of firepower, along with Lazar. It didn't really work out that way across both maps at this time, when Dansky coming up trumps and showing that he has the skill. Endpoint, on the other hand, Jesp coming out with a plus 5 KD. Jesp, who's had a bit hit and miss so far in terms of some of the games that he's played personally from what I've seen, but coming up a bit better trumps this time around. Overall, though, it's definitely going to be interesting going forward for both teams. Endpoint are going to be glad that they did at least manage to get the one map out of the two. XL will be happy that they have kind of managed to kill the 0-2 burden a little bit, but it's still going to be tough for both going into it for like future results. Endpoint definitely in the better status than what XL are at this point in time, but both very good teams. Be interesting to see what will happen with them going forward.
Is Method versus EnVyUs. I'll leave it in your capable hands.
Frag onto VK and he doesn't. Look at that. The flurry of fags go in favour of EnVyUs. It's going to be 4 versus 1.
Yeah, he was so critical to trying to turn this round back into their favour at that point, but Weber staying alive, the man that's always been in the clutch situations, finds the headshot! Weber's taking them all down as he rips his way through. It's a hat-trick for Weber. If he finds this, he will be able to pick it up. It's just one member left. Jax goes down!
But he has the flashbang. And right now there's no kit to the CT side. It's Weber and Ilzinho, 2 versus 2. The bomb is down. No kit. Flash comes in, the both blind.
Jax as well, allowed to do so much more damage, and he lands the tag. That could have been it then and there. Done straight away. It's back in the hands of Weber. The ball is in his court, like the first pistol round we saw, but surely he cannot do it twice. This should be EnVyUs picking up this pistol round at that point. They have smart positional play, peek together from Pulse, but unfortunately he misses. It doesn't hit the net, and it just rolls off into the crowd.
Exactly that. So, 4 players from the Method side now slowly grouping in towards mid. Petascale low HP towards drop area. And right now it's down to Hadji once again, close proximity, but is alone. And quickly is Lambert on the retreat.
This time around, Hadji's arm to the teeth as well. M4 has been donned by the man. He knows how to wield it. That's a hat trick as he just...
It's flashed off the angle. Lambert with just an AWP as well towards window. The worst gun possible to have in that scenario. He will fall back, but Jax falls in.
Jax tries to go for the play. Should be an easy dink on Stanley, but he's struggling. The choke is on display right now, and Weber overpowers him.
Does indeed. VK now towards stairs. Has to go huge if they want a chance to win this one.
VKL needs to strike. He was hunkered down like a sentry gun, but he was inaccurate. He couldn't find the frag snods. Hadji, once again, is the last man left standing.
So the third game was set up for a great spectacle in Method versus EnVyUs Academy. First map was Cash, second map was Cobblestone, but it ended up being another 2-0 victory for the EnVyUs Academy team. Taking the first map Cash 16-12 and the second map Cobblestone 16-11. It's now leaving Method in a difficult position. They are with 0 wins, 2 draws and 2 defeats. Definitely not a position that you would have expected them to be at the start of the Elite Series, but things just haven't been going their way. It's very difficult at this point. They've had some very close map results in certain scenarios, as have XL, as I mentioned in the previous one. And it's difficult for Method at this time. I mean, going into it against EnVyUs, who had 2-0'd every single time, it was always going to be difficult. But it just didn't work out for them, and they are a very, very talented lineup. So what's necessarily going on there behind the scenes, nobody knows, or if it's just not necessarily working out for them. EnVyUs, on the other hand, again, looking at KDs, everyone with a positive KD over the course of the 2 maps. Looking at the Method team, there was no one that really stepped up, I'd say. I mean, Weber had a fair few clutches within it. Nilzinho as an IGL still pushing up trumps. Pulse there as well. But the thing is you look at it, and Jenko and Stanley are the 2 people that you're going to kind of expect to be the main sources of firepower within that, and it's just not necessarily delivering at the moment. But EnVyUs very comfortable again, going through it. Jackson Lambert, as always, coming up trumps, but everyone for a collective team effort from the EnVyUs Academy lineup. So looking very, very good for them. They seem to be stomping it so far. So kind of as expected with regards to them. Method, not so much. Hopefully they can still steal some points going forward with some of the fixtures that they do have coming up. It would be nice to see Method start to pick up some results and show everyone what they are actually capable of.
We are underway. It will be
Here we
Team
go.
Infused starting on that T side, the attacking side.
You can see that MCK is going to be given no information whatsoever.
And I'm wondering how Infused read this now. Do they go back towards A? Oh, MCK, that is a absolute blinder of a shot. But this is the defense. This is the castle that Epsilon had built. And look at Infused, they can't get in. They're down to 26 seconds in this round. Aaron's trying to put up numbers, but it doesn't seem to matter. It's only MCK operating. And he has to find the last 2 players now. They're banking on the time, and it's Cosmine.
Oh, that's awkward.
From the highest highs to the lowest lows, Red Snake last round did something that pretty much changed the face of that game. This time, not so much so. Freddie B now left on his own there. MCK happily holding that. Got a lot of angle now, Smooya. 1v3, 1 minute remains. He can sense that pressure. He knows that Aaron wants to make a play happen here, but that smoke is dissipating. He's found an avenue of approach.
There's no way MCK is expecting this. Absolutely none.
No, Smooya has a chance at this one, and he's working it out. You can see the brain ticking through, the options becoming apparent. We might have just heard that one. Oh, Smooya?
Oh, my
We're going to
lord.
find out how viable this is, Alex. If they go through this, Freddy is on the other
Oh
side.
my god!
He turns the flash. Oh, he gets overwhelmed. Aaron's broken through, and Smooya's just seeing the bodies hit the floor. It's raining men. And he might just be saying hallelujah at this point. A lovely shot to finish.
Of this, if you want to start learning Counter-Strike, the left side and the right side could not be any further apart in terms of buy and the quality of it. Look at the top of your screens. $26,600.
Yeah. It's not so nice right now for Infused.
Epsilon have got their gold Rolexes on, pimping. MCK walking around with a wooden bowl asking for some more soup.
Okay, so the final game of the day for week 4 was indeed Epsilon versus Infused. Epsilon managed to take the 2-0 victory, probably as expected, with a 16-10 win on Mirage and a 16-9 win on Inferno. Definitely wasn't a bad performance from the Infused lads. I mean, you've still got to give them a lot of credit for how they are doing at the moment. I think initially going into it, especially with the kind of scenarios with trials coming in with Eccles as well, it's definitely, they're probably ahead of where they would expect it to be in comparison to other teams at the moment, because maybe from the outset you would have put Reason and Infused towards the lower end of things, but they're putting up some decent performances. Unlucky to still come out of the 2-0 loss to Epsilon this week gone. So overall, going through it, I mean, Epsilon, you just can't really fault them. You're expecting them to win in most of the games that they play at this point. I think the more Epsilon are playing together, the more stability they're getting, the more used they're getting to playing with each other, and you're starting to see that a lot more. Freddie B playing really, really well. Smooya, as always, doing what Smooya does. Cosmine, Barbar, and Maeve, they're just all coming up trumps, as you can see from the KDs as displayed. Infused, Fryer, the only one with the positive KD. Again, as always, KD isn't everything. It just, overall, I think Infused just got done by the experience and the quality of Epsilon in this particular scenario. Nothing too bad from the Infused lineup. Epsilon looking good at this point, though, starting to try and challenge for it as much as possible in the table. I mean, it's going to be a three-way dogfight for the most part between EnVyUs, Prophecy, and Epsilon as the kind of core three that are going to be fighting for it. But overall, yeah, definitely got to kind of give it to Epsilon for still coming up trumps within this. Infused definitely haven't got anything to look bad upon. There's still improvements that they have to make at this point without a shadow of a doubt. But definitely as they start coming up against some more of the UK teams, then there's definitely some victories they can pick up from that. So taking a look at the fixtures coming up for week 5, it will be the first game, which will be Endpoint versus Epsilon. Big match, because if Endpoint managed to do create an upset against Epsilon there, it definitely turns the tables around a bit. So I'm expecting a close one in that. I will expect Epsilon to take it, but at the same point, Endpoint, if they show up on their day, then definitely can cause something. Second game, EnVyUs versus XL. I feel sorry for XL at this point, because they've just been so unlucky in some of their results, and then to go up against EnVyUs on the form that they are in, it's gonna be difficult. It really is, and they do need to start picking up the results. So hopefully they've got something up their sleeve. They can pull something out, but as everything would dictate so far, it is going to be a victory for EnVyUs in that particular one. Method versus Reason. It's difficult at this point. If Method lose to Reason at this point, then I think that might kind of be a bit of a nail in the coffin for the Method lineup. Reason, especially with Thomas coming back with that extra firepower, then they will definitely be hoping to try and get some points out of a potentially deflated Method lineup. But if Method do manage to pick up that result, then hopefully it'll be a confidence boost for them, so at least they can then continue with that. Final game of the day, it would be Prophecy against Infused. Definitely, I mean, it's definitely one, if Infused show up, that they can take at least a map off of Prophecy for sure. Depends on what Prophecy decides to show up, but all things set in stone, Prophecy probably should take that. Does all depend on all of these matches, as always, in terms of what the map vetoes are, who decides to show up at the time. So definitely be interesting. I will myself be attending the Elite Series on Saturday, so by all means come say hi if you see me. Other than that, remember to like, comment, subscribe, hate, whatever it is you feel like doing today, my friends, and that will be the end of the video, so peace.